Okay, welcome to the fourth edition of the Midweek Matchday Live. This week we welcome Hampshire FA Level 4 and Women's Super League and Women's Championship official Chloe Ann Anderson, who's going to do a session managing the restart of play. Chloe, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to deliver a session. I hope everybody's keeping well and staying fit in these dodgy times, but we can only do what we can do. So the topic today, we're going to look at managing the restart of play, which maybe may come across as a bit of a simple subject. For me, I'd like to break it down a bit further and then get into the nitty-gritty kind of stuff. So just the picture that's shown on the first slide, I'd like to emphasise that everybody's on their own journey and we're all at different points in our career, and we can only help each other to further develop our career. And we've also got we've got our highs and lows throughout the season, and the highs are the ones that motivate us, and our lows are the ones that question our job as to why we do referee. But when we come out on top of those lows, then that really spurs us on. It does me anyway. So the agenda, if it's going to let me go across. Cool. So the agenda, we've done the welcome, and going to have a quick look at my career today, particularly my highs and lows of what's happened so far. A quick laws of the game quiz. It will be a quick six questions just to brush up on our knowledge and keep on top of our stuff. And we've now had the new laws in, so maybe a couple of things in there. Then I'm going to look into why we're actually looking at managing the restarts and what's behind it all. And then how do we actually manage the restart of play, and then look at specific restarts of play and go through the processes of those. And then at the end, obviously, have a Q&A, and you can ask me any questions that you like about anything in general. I'm more than happy to ask any questions if I can. So the aims of the sessions, if I can give you one bit of development from this session, then I can walk away from this presentation happy. If you've got anything, every day is always a learning day. I'd like to emphasise the importance of self-analysis. It's really important for us on our journey to help us to develop. And then most importantly, enjoy the session. Hopefully it's engaging as much as it can be. Unfortunately, it's not face-to-face, but it's what it is, and we can push on and make do with what we've got. So my career so far, I qualified in 2015 when I was 15 years old. And I only started refereeing in the Bournemouth Academy, as obviously I was only allowed to do junior level of football, but it was a great developing tool where it's in a controlled environment, and I was able to learn the basics of refereeing. I then turned 16 in July, and then wanted to go straight into senior football for the 15-16 season. So I was refereeing in the men's and women's, doing the Churches League, the Bournemouth Saturday and Sunday League, and all the women's local leagues. And I was also playing at the same time. So the normal for me was that I was doing 4 games on the weekend. So I'd be refereeing Saturday morning and afternoon, and then refereeing Sunday morning and playing in the afternoon. And then I'd also have my midweek games as well. So I was really, really busy with football, and I just couldn't get enough of it at the time. But I feel like having all those games and all those minutes helped me to develop at that time, which was great. Then come 16-17 season, I applied for promotion to level 6, which went really well to start with. And then I got an email from my RDO at the time asking me would I like to go for the double jump, as I'd fitted in all my games quite quickly, seeing as I was doing 4 games in the week. So obviously I said yes, and I applied for my level 5, and I achieved that at the end of that season. I had a couple of cup finals in that season. I also won the Hampshire FA Female Referee Award for outstanding performance and contribution to refereeing. So that was a real honour, and that was my first full season of refereeing. So I was really happy, and it was a really good season for me. It was a motivator, and thinking to myself that, oh, I could actually do something. I want to continue this. So then came next season, I had a few people telling me that, oh, I should go for my level 4 this year. And then a few people that were telling me, no, it's a bit too soon, you need to develop a bit more. And it was a real struggle to make this decision of whether to apply for my level 4 or not. which I said no. I wanted to stay at level 5 for another year, which I think has been absolutely great. So I'd recommend it if anybody's done the double jump and quite early in their career. Staying at level 5 is a real eye opener and helps you to develop a lot. So again, well, in this season I had my first international game, so I was on the line for England against Wales at under-15s girls at St George's Park, and that was like such a great experience, and I can't like express how good that was, and having that email come through was amazing. But yeah, it was quite a quiet season, but a good developing season for me. I then applied for level 4 in the 18-19 season, where I also became part of FA Core, and the previous year I was part of the Women's Senior Development Group, which I'll explain a bit later. So last season was a bit of ups and downs really, but I'll start with the ups. So I made my debut in the Women's Championship as an assistant referee, and then I also refereed like the Women's National League semi-final and the Plate Cup final, as well as the local county Senior Women's Cup final. And I had a couple of internationals across the country as an AR in this season as well. However, at the beginning of the year, I pulled my hamstring, had a grade tear 2, which wasn't good. I think it was due to doing too many games, and it was just an overworked hamstring, and it suddenly pulled in a game, which meant I was out for 7 weeks, which is a very long time, and it was right at the beginning of the season, so I was really doubting whether am I going to get all my games in, is this going to affect my promotion to level 4, all of the questions going through my head, and it was a real mental struggle to get through that. But I had great support from my uni at the time. I was part of like the High Performance Academy, so I had a great physio, a great rehab program that got me back in 7 weeks, which was a lot quicker than what we had originally thought, so that was good. And then I achieved my level 4. So this year is my first year as level 4. It was a bit of a slow start, a bit of a rocky start. Had my lowest observer marks at the beginning of the season, and then as the season's developed, I feel personally that I've developed a lot better as a match official. I've grown in confidence, and I go out and I lead as a team of 3, and I'm really happy with where I am, or where I ended up at the end of this season. I also made my debut in the Women's Championship as the referee and as the assistant referee in the WSL, and all exciting games. They've been real eye openers as well, because I've officiated with like level 2B referees, 2A referees, and I've managed to see how they work and how we're talking on the comms, and it's a really good helper for me in that sense. I had a couple of Conti Cup games, which were a great icebreaker into the leagues. I had those before my actual WSL games. I then was appointed referee for the FA Cup 4th round in the women's. So I refereed Southampton Women's against Crystal Palace, which unfortunately got abandoned at the end. I then also made my TV debut on the line to Arsenal against Chelsea in January, which was a really great game. It was 4,000 crowd sellout. And obviously on TV, I came back home and watched the game straight away. It was really good. I've also had my first game refereeing an international match. So we had a tournament up at St George's Park, which was really good. So I refereed in the early afternoon, and then was 4th official in the evening. So looking back, well, when I was going through this, I thought I didn't realise how many highs and what lows I've had. So I'd like to just ask you to take a moment of what you've had in your career, like your highs and lows, and how you've overcome those lows if you've had any. But yeah, and FA Core and the Senior Women's Development Group, they've been a real help. So the FA Core have obviously had my own coach, and then the Senior Women's Development Group, we've recently been appointed our coaches as well. So that's great. So I get help in the women's and in the men's, because it is different to referee. That's my career to date, and hopefully it will continue to grow. So laws of the game quiz. Be as honest as you want to be. It is your choice, but obviously if we're not honest with ourselves, then how do we develop? So get pen and paper at the ready. I'd like you to write your answers down. We'll go through 6 questions and then we'll do the answers at the end where you can input your answers into the chat box, I think it is. So just do your best. They're multiple choice answers and let's go for it. So question 1. In the 83rd minute, a dropped ball was awarded to the red team, which is taken by the right back who plays to their goalkeeper. However, the goalkeeper misses the ball and the ball enters the goal without touching any other player. What should you do as the referee? So we got A, award a goal. B, award a goal kick. C, award a corner kick. Or D, drop the ball again. So I'll just repeat the question and then hopefully we should be good with timings. So in the 83rd minute, a drop ball was awarded to the red team, which is taken by the right back who faces their goalkeeper. However, the goalkeeper misses the ball and the ball enters the goal without touching any other player. What should you do as the referee? Question 2, at the coin toss, the captain that wins the toss says what options available to them. A, choice of ends. B, choice of ends and to take kickoff. C, to take the kickoff. Or D, choice of ends or to take kickoff. Hopefully quite an easy one for us. So at the coin toss, the captain that wins the toss has what options available to them? A, B, C, or D. Happy? Cool. I'll give you a bit longer for question 3. So fill in the table as you please on your pen and paper, and I will ask you to honestly mark it when we come around to it in the answers. So obviously it's the summary table of the outcome of the penalty kick. Just a reminder that there are a couple of law changes in there this year. Hopefully that's a bit of a clue. As I say, be as honest as you can, and if you don't remember anything, that's fine, but come to the day that you've got a game and this situation comes up, hopefully you'll know after doing this. Are we all good? Don't know how long you've had. Chris, has everybody done? Sorry, I can't see.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Yeah, cool. Question 4. In the 44th minute, and the ball is in play, a player claps their hands in dissent at the referee's decision. What action should the referee take? A, the referee cautions the player for unsporting behaviour. B, the referee cautions the player for unsporting behaviour and awards a direct free kick from where the offence took place unless advantage is applied. C, the referee cautions the offending player and awards an indirect free kick from where the offence took place unless advantage is applied. Or D, send off the offending player for making an offensive gesture and award an indirect free kick from where the offence took place unless advantage is applied. I'll just read the question one more time. In the 44th minute and the ball is in play, a player claps their hands in dissent at the referee's decision. What action should you take? A, B, C, or D? Question 5. In the 67th minute of the match, with the right winger dribbling the ball down the wing, an opposing substitute throws a water bottle in a violent manner at the winger in an attempt to stop them from progressing. What action should you take? A, allow play to continue as no offence has apparently occurred. B, award a direct free kick and send off the substitute for violent conduct. C, award a direct free kick and, oh sorry, my mistake, I got a spelling issue, and caution the substitute for unsporting behaviour. Or D, award an indirect free kick and caution the substitute for unsporting behaviour. We'll go through the question one more time and hopefully that's enough time. In the 67th minute of the match, with the right winger dribbling the ball down the wing, an opposing substitute throws a water bottle in a violent manner at the winger in an attempt to stop them progressing. What action do you take? Hopefully we've got that one. Question 6. Final question. At the taking of a throw-in, an opponent is standing 1 metre away from the thrower and jumps once the throw has been taken in an attempt to distract the thrower. What do you do? A, allow play to continue. B, retake the throw-in. C, retake the throw-in and caution the opponent for unsporting behaviour. Or D, award an indirect free kick and caution the opponent for unsporting behaviour. Again, one more time. At the taking of a throw-in, an opponent is standing 1 metre away from the thrower and jumps once the throw has been taken in an attempt to distract the thrower. What do you do? Okay,
There you go.
so answers. Have you got it all on?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So question 1, answer. In the 83rd minute, drop ball was awarded to the red team. However, it doesn't touch any players and goes straight into their own net. What is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? Have we got all the answers in?
We've got a few, and it looks like everybody's going for option C.
Cool. Good choice. When it goes. So C. So obviously, drop ball must be touched by 2 or more players before entering a goal. And obviously, if it was the other way around, a corner kick would have been given rather than a goal kick. Question 2, the coin toss. What options do they have available to them? Nice and easy.
Option D.
Cool. Perfect. So obviously they get a choice of ends or to take kickoff. Question 3, there's your table of answers. Mark them as honestly as you can and put in your score. The 2 that I've highlighted are the ones that have changed this year, and hopefully they make sense. We all good?
Yeah.
What scores have we got?
So Charlotte's coming there with, I think she's saying surprised anyway. I thought this would be quite a good score in the Pillin household, but 16 for Charlotte.
Oh, good work. Any other scores?
I was going to say 9 out of the first 10 for David.
Brilliant.
Is Charlotte taking the bragging rights in the Pillin household now, Dave?
So maybe just have a look at which ones we've missed and maybe why have we missed them. Just make sure we're brushing up on our penalty kicks.
Okay, do you want to move on?
Yep. Has everybody gone in? Cool. In the 44th minute and the ball in play, a player claps their hands in dissent at the referee's decision. What action should you take? What's the general answers we've got?
The ones we've got coming in, everyone is pretty unanimous in option C.
Perfect. So obviously, referee awards an indirect free kick due to dissent, and dissent can be verbal and non-verbal. So in the 67th minute of the match, with the right winger dribbling the ball down the wing, an opposing substitute throws a water bottle in a violent manner at the winger and then attempts to stop them from aggressing. What action do you take?
How does option B sound?
Hey?
How does option B sound?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Perfect. And then last one, at the taking of a throw-in, an opponent standing 1 metre away from the thrower and jumps once the throw has been taken in an attempt to distract the thrower. What do you do? What have we got for this one?
I think everyone's been a bit shy over this one, so I'm guessing that might be
Be honest. It's a safe environment.
Okay, so we have actually got a mixture of all 4 answers come in. Predominantly, I'm just looking down the list. Predominantly C, I think, is probably just in the lead, but there's a bit of a mixture of all round there.
Okay, well, the answer is D. So it's an indirect free kick, as shown in the question, that the ball was already in play. Obviously, if the ball wasn't in play and the throw hadn't been taken, then we would be taking the throw in again. But because it's in play, we are going for an indirect free kick and a caution for unsporting behaviour. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, sounds good.
So into why we're managing restarts of play. So obviously some of them can be quite a crucial part of play. So we've got our attacking phases of play, we've got the corner kicks, penalty kicks, and our free kicks. And those are situations that we want to boss those situations and let everybody know that we are in charge and not let the players take control over those situations. You have to manage them all. I like to give the sort of saying of like you got dogs on leads. So your first and 10 minutes of each half, first and last 10 minutes of each half are your most crucial, and they're your marker to put your stamp on the game. I'd like to give everything in the first and last 10 minutes and manage each situation as I can. And then as the game progresses, hopefully the players will relax and trust that you've got the authority, and the game should be in your pocket, hopefully. And then you can relax. And then do you have to manage all the restarts? Hopefully not. So those that are defensive free kicks that are pushing up into the half, you don't have to manage at all. But then as soon as the tempo rises again, as soon as the tempo rises again and people's high emotions, and that could be game changers, that could be a goal, that could be a sending off, then we have to put that dog back in the lead. But you can start to release the dog when you're under control. How involved do you need to be? A similar sort of thing. And then when should I manage a restart? Attacking set pieces are most vital, and this could be when a goal is being scored, so we need to boss the situation. And again, any high tempo, any high emotions, and we need to kill the game. We need to give everybody a bit of a breather to calm down and take the time with the restart. Then that is our moment to do so, and to help make sure we deliver a safe game. So attacking free kicks. Unfortunately, I can't play the clips as I'm a bit computer illiterate, but that's what we would have done if we would have seen the clips. So we'll go straight into the process of attacking free kicks and what I use, because this is something that I've been developing on for like the past couple of years, and I feel like I'm a lot more confident in this in these situations now, and I'm the boss of the situation, and hopefully you can take something from this. You can use what you like. You're more than welcome to try it in your game. If it doesn't work for you, then that's absolutely fine. We're all different things work for us, but if it works, that's fine, that's good, I'm happy. So the process, obviously award the free kick, but before we award the free kick, we want to have a good movement, a good angle to really sell our decision, get to the position where the offence took place, and we can give that free kick bold, give a really good signal, be confident, and hopefully that will lessen the dissent. We then look, does the player need treatment? If so, let's call the physio on, and in this time, can we be thinking about any discipline to the player that's made the offence? Do they need cautioning, or do they just need but we have that time to do so and to kill the situation. But if the player doesn't need treatment, then that's fine. Obviously discipline we'll have to deal with anyway, that would be the next step if we didn't have the treatment. But also thinking, if we had to caution the player and the physio's on, do we need to let the player off the field of play? No, they can stay on, so that's fine. So if none of the steps 2 and 3 have happened, then do the players want a quick free kick? You can just ask them, do you want a quick free kick? And they can play, that's fine. But if they don't, then that's when we've got to tell everybody that it's on the whistle, especially the person that's taking the free kick and the goalkeeper. Then do we have any defenders in the way? If we do, get them out of the situation. We don't want them there. So just give them a solid arm movement, tell them to get back, and I'll walk you out in a minute, if necessary to do so for a wall. Then we've got the number 6, we've got our ball placement. So obviously we can't get the ball on like the exact blade of grass that we'd like to, but give the attacker the ball. You're standing in the general area, so you ask them to put them down, ask them, are you happy with the ball here? And 9 times out of 10 they'll say yes, and then say, you won't move it then. Leave them that question, and then if they want to move it, fine, as long as they don't go further. And then just say that if you're working with neutral ARs, but if you're not, it's fine, you can't use them. But if you're working with neutral ARs, then you just say, well, my mate over there is going to watch you, so don't move the ball from now. And hopefully they will leave the ball alone, and then you won't have to deal with anything from there. And then we've got our wall. So if we've got a one-man wall, do we need to walk the wall back? Can we just be vocal? We should know what 10 yards is. We do it every game. But if not, then just go out to a pitch and practice. We got from the centre circle, right in the spot in the middle, walking out. That's 10 yards. So we should be able to gauge what 10 yards is just by looking at it. So one-man wall. just be vocal, push them out into 10 yards, and you can get into position at the same time. If we've got more than one, then start on the outside of the ball. So we're going on the touchline side of the ball, and then walk your 10 yards. So for me, it's 11 strides as I've got little legs. So again, this is where you want to practice your 10 yards. How many steps is it for you? If you've got little legs like me, then it'll be more. If not, then whatever it is for you, you've just got to know. And then I always, before a game, before anything, I'd always go out into the pitch and see what advertising boards are around me and are in line with the penalty area. Because the thing we don't want with the wall is that we don't want them on the line or in a tricky situation whether we've got to guess if they've handballed the ball in or outside of the box. Otherwise, it makes it tricky for ourselves, so why put ourselves in that situation? So walking back from the box, so starting on the edge of the box before the game's even started, I'd like to walk my 10 yards out and then see what advertising boards are in line with me at that point, and then I know whether if I've got a free kick in and around that area, I can either go a bit further in, so the wall's in the box, or I can go like just a couple of steps backwards, then it's outside of the box, which is a real helper for me. So we're going outside to in. So we've started on the outside of the ball. We'll walk our wall back, then to walk back with you. So what I used to do a couple of years ago, I would walk the wall and I would kind of split the wall. So I'd walk in between the wall. So please try to avoid doing that. Go on the outside. So start on the outside player of the wall and they should all follow you back. And then we can do the simple thing of just walking across them and just saying handball above the head, keep them down. Make it clear to everybody as you're walking across them. So any handball offences, it's nice and easy to sell. So once we've done the wall, we've got to think, obviously, if we've got any more than 3 players in the wall, are there any attackers around us? If there are, let's get them a metre away and make sure that's really clear to everybody. And then we can take up our position. So for free kick positionings, I tend to give the thing of if it's in front of goal, then we've got a shooting free kick going on. So I'd like to stand as close to the player as I can possibly, because my main focus is now going to be a handball in the wall. And if I'm stood in that position with no obstruction in front of me, then I should be able to see that really clearly, and I'll be able to sell that decision really easily. And then anything that's going a bit wider of the goal, we're looking at crossing the ball in. So what are the factors that we can see where the dropping zone is going to be? Obviously, we've got the cluster of players, whether they're left-footed, right-footed, if it's an in-swinger or out-swinger, which we can gauge from previous free kicks. So if we've got a wide free kick and the wall's inside the box, I still want to be able to see that wall because my main focus is still handball. But as soon as that ball goes over the wall, then my main focus is going to be on the players in the box. So I'm going to be moving quick movements to get into that position to be able to see any offences that are taking place in there. But, however, if the wall is outside the box, then I can move into that position straight away. I don't need to be in front of the wall. I don't need to handball offences. Is it a big issue? The main issue for me is the cluster of players in the box, because there could be a big penalty decision that we need to give in that moment. And then on to the whistle. It's a big moment. Like it could be a goal being scored. So we've got to tell the crowd, we've got to tell the technical areas, we've got to switch our ARs on if they're not switched on. So I want a big long whistle, and we can deliver that free kick. And just really boss the situation, be confident, and hopefully it is all good. So onto penalty kicks. Again, sorry about the videos. For the process, very similar start. So you walk to penalty, make sure you get into that really good position. Treatment, disciplinary, all the same things as the previous. But obviously penalty is a bit bigger than an attacking free kick, so we're going to have that descent and mass confrontation potentially that could follow. But the bigger we give the decision, the more confident we are with that decision, the less we are going to have of descent and on the mass con potentially. So let the storm pass if there is a mass confrontation. Is using our whistle really that effective? Like, there's no good in just blowing and blowing and blowing our whistle. We're just wasting our breath. So just let the storm pass, and then we can deal with whatever's left. But do not walk backwards. It shows that you're not confident with your decision, that you're being backed away, do not walk away. Stand your ground and say it is a penalty, now go. So the same thing, ball placement, they've got a spot to choose, so it needs to go on the spot, obviously. Make sure they're happy with it, tell them it's on the whistle, and then they're good to go from there. Your next point of call will be going to the goalkeeper, who I'm sure will be near and around the penalty taker. So make sure the goalkeeper is getting back on their line. Obviously, they can have the 1 foot on their line. Make sure they're not jumping up and touching the crossbar, because obviously that's not allowed anymore. Make sure they stay on that line. Tell them obviously it's on the whistle as well. And then we can sweep around to the attackers and defenders. Again, starting from the AR side, going round to your non-AR side, so your position that you would normally take up. So just giving an arm going round, making sure that everybody's staying out, so then it makes it clear to everybody that you are watching them, and hopefully they don't encroach the penalty, otherwise we've got to go through that summary table, and that's not good. So make sure they stay out, and then we can take up our position. So I like to stand where it's in line with the edge of the 6. So most of the players are in front of me and I'm able to see everything. I like to take up a bit of an angle, so the goalkeeper's more in my peripheral, so I've got my AR that's looking after that as well. But my main worry is the attackers and defenders that are encroaching, and I want to see those. But obviously I've got everything in my peripheral vision and I should be able to see everything. And then let's hit that whistle hard and long, because we want to tell everybody, hey, look, there's a goal coming up here. Let's give the big whistle for the big moment. And then inevitably, if the guy or girl that's just scored the penalty, if they're still behind or they've just equalised, they want to get the ball out of that net super quick. And then obviously the goalkeeper's going to try and go against that and want to keep hold of the ball. So rather than just running away and ready for the restart and the kickoff, still everybody could be in the back of the net. So just move in, make sure that everybody's okay. If there is a bit of jostle, then just move in, tell the goalkeeper to leave the ball, allow the attackers to take the ball up, and then it will just all be over a bit quicker than what it would have been. Is that okay? So throw in again, force it from the beginning. Those first few throw-ins are crucial for the rest of your throw-ins in the game. Although it may sound simple and really easy, whenever you've got a throw-in on the technical area side, you've always got a manager that's going to comment and be like, oh, they've taken like 5 to 10 yards, ref. Well, if we'd have sorted that at the beginning, then everybody would have been happy. So what I find useful for me is that I tend to learn my fullbacks on the team sheet when you get it in the changing room, because players tend to respond to their name rather than just the number 2 on the back of their shirt. So the first throw-in, I want you to, well, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, tell them that's it, that's where it is, thank you. If they're already in that position, give them a thumbs up and tell them their name already, and then that means that they've like, oh, she's like looking at me, or he's looking at me. I've got to watch where I take my throw-ins from. And then it just helps you out for the rest of the game. And like usually throughout the game, they'll just give you a look and give you a thumbs up, I tend to find anyway, and it makes it a lot easier for me. And I don't have to have the hassle of a manager telling me that a throw-in's been taken 5 yards up the line. Saves the faff. So goal kicks. We've got our short. Well, what are the clues really to a short and long goal kick? Does this change where I need to stand? And what works best for you? We have, like, obviously you've got your coaches and your other referees, and then you've got our observers that tell us where to stand. And observers like to tell us to go wide on goal kicks. But I feel if you justify your position of to where you've stood, then that's fine. So I know this looks quite awful, but hopefully you can get the general clue from this. So hopefully you've gathered that this is a short goal kick. And so we've got our, can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
So we've got our red defenders here that have stayed in here, and our blue attackers, so obviously a short goal kick. So I would like to be stood hopefully in and around here, if you can see that.
Yeah.
So this is because the ball isn't going to be going far. I've got an unobstructed view of the players and of the ball. And then suddenly, if the ball has been hoofed up the top, then I've only got a good few yards to catch up on. Then I haven't missed anything in the corner or up on the halfway line. Obviously, if you do want to go wide, then that's fine. But just think, how wide are the players themselves? Are they pushing you off the pitch, which you don't want to be in that position? But just make sure that when you're stood in the middle, that you can see the majority of people that are going to be involved in the action, and any peripheral vision that we've got in that. Just make sure we can see everybody, basically. But I mean, you can just give the line to the observer of like, oh, I've got the sun in my eyes. If the sun's coming in from the other way, that's why you've come inside. Or you've come inside because such and such. Just justify your positioning and it'd be good. Where's my mouse? And then long goal kicks. Obviously, you've got the cluster of players that are in and around the halfway line, so that should be your cue to you want to get out the pitch, because you don't want to be travelling like 20 yards unnecessarily to try and play catch up, because there could be a bit of trouble in the penalty area. So just make sure, again, if you want to go wide, you can go wide, that's fine. But just think, is it quite a high tempo game? Are you going to be stuck in between the two technical areas? Because I definitely wouldn't want to be in that position where it's a high tempo game and you've got the managers in your ears and you've just put yourself in the middle of the two of them. I wouldn't want to be doing that, so I'd be going into the middle. This allows also, like, if the goal kick's gone either left or right, then you've only got half of the pitch either side to move. If you've gone wide and the ball's gone over the other side, then you've got a lot of ground to try and catch up to meet any offences that have occurred. So just whatever works best for you, but I tend to find that I'm in the middle, obviously not dead in the centre circle because it doesn't look great. But either side of the centre circle, depending on which side the goal kick is, I tend to find it anyway. And then on to our corner kicks. Again, similar kind of thing with our throw-ins. We want to show who the boss is and where our focus is going to be. So my focus is usually on the goalkeeper and the striker that are jostling in the middle. And then if we've got a cluster of players, then I've got two focuses there that I want to look on. But the first corner, if we can get into the middle, pause the corner kick, give a double peep, get in there and just say, look, I don't want any of this. It's either a penalty or a free kick, whatever happens. So it's your choice. And then you move back out. I tend to find that that's a really good help in like seeing other games. Like, it's a real help to your match control. And then the corner can play, and hopefully you wouldn't have too much trouble in the middle. Thinking of our position, the D outside the penalty box, that's for danger. We do not want to be stood in that middle bit, because if anything comes out, then you've just got a load of players running at you, and you've got to try and get through all of that mess. So making sure, usually in the edge of in the corner of the D sort of thing, they're usually a good place. And just have a quick scan around you. Make sure you've got a free patrol pass so that you can get out if the ball is hoofed by one of the defenders. And then what can we tell from the previous corner kicks that have been taken? Have they beaten the first man? Does that change our position if it does? If it hasn't, then okay. But if it has, then I would be looking to move in a bit closer towards them so I can see anything that happens with that first man. Also, are they left-footed or right-footed? Is it an in-swinger or is it an out-swinger? This may change our positioning, which I think it does. But as long as we don't stand in that D, and make sure we're moving on corner kicks, like we've got to move towards the drop-in zone. Otherwise, we're not going to see any offences that are taking place. We're not going to see that like tiny little pulled shirt that they're trying to hide from you. So make sure we're moving around, getting a different angle, and making sure we're not too predictable with our positioning. Otherwise, players do latch onto it. They can be clever sometimes. Make sure you move. I think that's everything. So to summarise, managing restarts, you are the boss. Be confident in what you do. Just boss the situation basically, and you should be fine. If the outcome isn't quite there with whatever decision we've made, then let's get the marks if we're being observed in the process of it. Let's get the process right. Let's get our cool hats back on and just feel the situation if we need a bit of a breather. Those breaks are for you as well as the players. Just think logical, take it step by step. And we actually have more time than we think, which is said a lot, but when you're out there and it's like in the 90th minute and you've got an award attacking free kick, kill the time, give yourself a breather, take the moment, and we can move on. Utilise your surroundings. So again, use the sponsorship boards if there is any. If not, use like trees or something, or anything that's there. Obviously, don't use a moving thing like a person, because that wouldn't help you. And then give that extra 1%, and you'll be rewarded. Always find something to develop on. If you are able to watch your games back, then please go and do it. It's a real benefit, and I've found it has helped me so much more. So go back and watch your games, and like some of the things you do, you might not even realise that you're doing them. So when I started refereeing, I was told that my left arm didn't move when I was running, which sounds really odd, but until I watched a video of it, I was just like, oh, I actually don't move my arms. So like in training, like sprint training, it's making sure those arms are pumping, and it could be something like silly like that, or like I always fiddle with my hair, and then I found I had to get headbands. Little things, but they do make a difference. It's that extra percent and how far do you want to go. So just make sure you work hard, and you will get the rewards that you deserve. If that's time, is it time?
Yeah, so we're coming up to towards the end. I don't know if anyone's got any questions they want to put towards you. I've got a couple that I'll just throw at you to start with, if you can.
Yeah, sure.
I was say, if you do want to put a question towards Chloe, then if you want to raise your hand, and then we can unmute you, we can unmute yourself, and we can just throw a couple of questions at you. Probably one that I've asked Sunny and a couple of other referees that we've had. Yeah. What is the best piece of advice you've been given, and what advice would you give to others?
Again, it is self-analysis and utilising the people that are around you. So for me, mine is my coach. He's really helps me, and then other referees of the same level. Go out and ask them. If you're unsure, go and ask them. And then also, if you're aspiring to the next level, why not go and ask so if you're level 5, go and ask your level 4 what's going on. Ask them. You want to be better, you want to know what's going on to the next level, then go and ask the people that are already at that level. That's really helped me. And just talking to other players, using like these kind of development evenings, your local RAs, and any groups that you're in, like just utilise everything that's around us. Obviously, we've got the great YouTube, everything's on there. So like any clips, go and watch your clips. Like on Dogso, if you want to focus on your Dogso, just find some clips, write down your decision, and you never know, that's going to come up in your next game, and you would have already made the decision for it.
Fantastic.
So,
okay.
I think the main message is self-analysis, and just using everybody that's around you that you find that's useful for you. Obviously, people can chuck you loads and loads of information, but you've got to find what works best for you. You don't have to take every bit of information that's given, because it could be different opinions. Like with the goal kicks, people tell you to go wide, or people tell you to go in. It is what works best for you. And as long as you can justify why, then I don't think anybody can tell you you're wrong. Okay. There's never a right and wrong, you're always developing. Is that right?
Excellent, yeah. Good one from Casey here, actually. When you were 16, did you go straight into adult football, or did you start with the older teenagers?
No, so I went straight into senior football. So I think my first ever game when I was 15, I did an under 15 Bournemouth Academy, and then I stayed around that sort of age when I was 15. So I had quite a few games at that. And then 10-16 in July, I went straight into senior football. I had my mentor there, so I wasn't alone, and I had my parents as well, obviously. So I had support, and I wasn't alone, and I felt really comfortable in my situation. But yeah, I went straight into adult football, and I'm really glad that I did, because I feel like it's got me to where I am now. If I hadn't have gone in straight away, then who knows where I'd be now.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I know Katie's looking at promotion as well when she's 16, so that'll probably help her out. No end. Another quick one. For a sin bin offence where you've had to stop play, how would you restart and where from?
Say that again, sorry.
For a sin bin offence where you obviously had to stop the play, how would you restart and where?
So indirect free kick and from where the offence took place.
Okay.
So obviously it's dissent, isn't it? Sin bin. So verbal or non-verbal. You can stop the game whenever and then just give the indirect free kick from where the offence took place.
Okay, so we're just going to touch on something you spoke about earlier with yourself in particular. When you obviously got injured during the game. What is the process if you pull a hamstring, cannot continue, and don't have assistant referees, which most of our level 7s won't have?
So I was the AR on this game, so I'll just go through that and then I'll try and answer the question. So I think it must have been in the second half. I was trying to push on through like the rest of the game, and I was just trying my best to run up and down the line. And then luckily we had the floodlights went, so we had a natural break in play, and I just went over to the referee and I just said, look, I can't run anymore. So we had the time with the floodlights to try and find somebody that was qualified in the ground to then try and take over. So I was on bench side, so we would get the AR that was on the far side over on the bench side, and then the qualified referee that was in the ground, or whether it was just a parent, I can't remember. They just went on the far side and just did the basics of offsides and ball in and out of play, and that's what you ask of them. I guess if you're a level 7 and you haven't got your ARs and you've come injured, then obviously look after your body. You need to stop the game. You need to stop refereeing. Let the benches know what's happened. And I think it's just going for a couple of phone calls. I don't know. I don't think you would get any match official in the ground to come and referee. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, so generally what we would say is obviously the two managers or the two teams would have to agree on a replacement referee.
Yeah.
So if it comes to the point where they can't agree, the game would actually end up probably being abandoned.
Yeah.
But obviously that is luckily quite a rare occasion. And you would generally tend to find that between the two teams, nobody wants to really abandon the game. No. They'd all be happy to finish. So from that basis, you'd probably find someone that would be willing to take over. But obviously, both teams must have to agree to that.
Yeah.
Probably a bit more of a personal one for you. What are your ambitions in the game?
What are my ambitions? So obviously, like the absolute dream would be like FIFA referee. But like at this time, like I've got my short-term goals. So for next year, I'd like to push on for promotion to level 3 in the men's games, and that would mean a natural promotion in the women's game to 1W. But if it doesn't happen, that's fine. It just sets everything back a year, and then hopefully the following year I would push on. But at the minute, we're still allowed to referee men's and women's, so I'd still like to continue on both pathways and try and push on as far as I can on each side. So in the men's, my aspiration long term, I think, would be going national prem, and then anything higher than that would be class for me. And then obviously in the women's, FIFA referee would be amazing and would be the absolute dream. So hopefully one day those are my aspirations. But again, it's just giving that extra 1% and wanting to want it and trying to push yourself to those limits to be able to achieve those.
Okay, and finally, we've just got time for squeezing one more.
Yeah.
It's probably to do with sort of how you recovered from injury, and what was that motivation that actually sort of got you to the end of the tunnel, if you like, in terms of getting over the injury and getting back to football?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I was really lucky. So I went to Solent University, and I was part of the High Performance Academy. So I had a really great physio that has obviously given me soft tissue, muscle, and everything like that, and also gave me a really good rehab program. So I was just doing like just really soft, gentle exercises for the first probably 4 weeks, And then it was doing like tests every week to see if my hamstring was strengthening or if it was still knackered, which like the first few weeks it still was. And then it was towards the last 2 weeks was building in back into my running, and just trying to get back into being fully fit. I had a blip in the middle of like, I felt like my hamstring wasn't recovering at all, and I felt like it's kind of gone back to the first day. So that was a real struggle. But the motivator for me was that I wanted to complete my level 4 promotion. I couldn't wait another year to wait for that level 4. I also, obviously, refereeing comes with a bit of money, pocket money, and I needed to keep my car on the road at the time. So obviously, I had 7 weeks without my income because I was at uni, and refereeing was my job/hobby at the time. So I needed the money to keep my car on the road. So I wanted to get back as quickly as I could because everybody needs it. And then also for me, it's like refereeing is like my like happy place, and it's kind of like a release. So I wanted to be back out on a pitch. I wanted to be back out like bossing 22 players on the pitch. And I really, really missed it. But I went to loads and loads of matches, which was actually really helpful. I went to go and watch loads of level 4 games local to me. I went with my coach a couple of times, and we just went through the game when we were there. And those were really good. And then in like my 7th week, I had went to a game to watch with my coach, and then the referee pulled up injured, so I ended up having to referee a half. I wasn't fully fit, so I really struggled to try and get around that pitch. And then getting from there, I wanted to be fully fit. I wanted to be back refereeing, and that was my motivator. But yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, I think we've come towards the end. All I'll say is that thank you for tonight. It's been really, really useful. Obviously, we'll be putting the recording onto the Barks and Bucks website.
Yeah.
For people to access later on.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope everybody's kind of got something from it.